going on today, Dallas Mavericks fans and MFFLs? The Dallas Mavericks handled some business last night against the New York Knicks. I will say the shorthanded New York Knicks, who were playing without Jalen Brunson and Julius Randle. But this is a team that in the New York Knicks, they have so many guys that I guess some very talented role players on that team. So they were still going to be able to put up a fight last night. And it's a home game for the New York Knicks. So they're going to have the crowd behind them and everything. So the Dallas Mavericks are going to have to come into that game last night and take care of business. Of course, you're still riding a little bit high on the news about the acquisitions that you made yesterday, Daniel Gafford and PJ Washington once again. So the Mavericks are going to have to come out there and handle some business, and we're starting to see a few guys come back into the rotation and kind of starting to find their fit. I will say we're watching Josh Green, who made it through the trade deadline, and again, apparently the Dallas Mavericks made it very clear that he was not one of the guys they were willing to really give up yesterday. And it was just good to be able to see those trade acquisitions and be able to hang on to the pieces that we did so we can have a solid team going forward. The Dallas Mavericks took down the New York Knicks last night with the final score of 122-108. The Mavericks are now sitting on a 3-game win streak. So now the Dallas Mavericks are finding themselves, I believe, 7 games out of first place right now, still in the 8th spot. But that's not telling anything because, again, only 7 games out of the first seed in a long journey still left to go in this regular season. I believe sitting 1 game behind the Sacramento Kings, who have the 7th seed right now. The Dallas Mavericks, again, are pretty much lots of potential to continue to move up in these standings. And if we're going to be able to see PJ Washington and Daniel Gafford and some of these guys in the mix, and potentially I'll talk about a guy that we're possibly looking at bringing back, maybe a reunion in the buyout market. We'll see. The Dallas Mavericks are starting to put themselves in position to make some moves up the standings going forward. But last night, again, it was a game that the Dallas Mavericks took care of business. Let's talk about it just a little bit. Last night, Luka Doncic put up 39 points, 11 assists, 8 rebounds, 4 steals. This was a game where I'm going to say Luka Doncic should now be putting himself back in MVP talks. Obviously, the Dallas Mavericks are going to have to move up a little bit because, again, you're seeing some teams like the Minnesota Timberwolves. You're seeing the Denver Nuggets up there once again. You're seeing the Oklahoma City Thunder, who the Dallas Mavericks faced off again against tomorrow. I believe 2 p.m. Central Time is going to be a daytime game. So the Mavericks are going to be able to see what they really are. But Luka Doncic just being the one, again, we're talking about in a game where Luka Doncic was going to have to take control of a game because you have no idea. I guess you want to say in these certain circumstances, obviously trade deadline, you're losing some guys that you become maybe close to, again, or just having a change of pretty much just the way the dynamic of your rotation is going to be going forward. Sometimes those are the games where you need your star player, your superstar talent player to come out there and just take control of the game early on so that we're not finding ourselves in one of these dog fights against a team that is shorthanded. So Luka Doncic handling some business, but also yesterday, Luka Doncic early on in the game, first quarter, a beautiful behind the back pass to Dwight Powell. It was a sight to see. It was one of those things. We've become so accustomed to Luka Doncic making plays like this. At some point, there's not a way to say you're not still amazed, but it becomes one of those things where at some point you're still asking, how does he continue to do this? He makes the game look so easy. Check out this pass real quick.
Charlie Brown getting some early minutes here. Taj Gibson on the floor as well. And Powell open. Luka Doncic with a little spike.
A beautiful, absolutely beautiful pass. Again, we become very accustomed to. That's what Luka Doncic does. Again, the Dallas Mavericks took down the New York Knicks last night, 122-108. Dallas Mavericks now sitting at 29-23. Once again, the New York Knicks now sitting at 33-19. This is a team that is very dangerous. Like I said, with these role players, they still had some guys. And Dante DiVincenzo last night for the New York Knicks. If you take a quick look, 36 points last night, 13 of 26 on field goal attempts, 7 of 12 from 3-point line, 3 of 4 on free throws in 43 minutes. This was a guy, he got pretty high. You see the negative under 19, negative 19 plus minus, but that was, again, it started to be a barrage because the Dallas Mavericks got lots of guys involved last night. But again, they still had some players on their team. Again, Josh Hart putting up 23 last night. Hartenstein, a guy I wanted the Dallas Mavericks to take a look at and possibly bring in this past offseason. And so again, that's a physical force down low. So Dallas Mavericks, again, pulled out the win, 122-108. Josh Green, this is where you're starting to ask yourself, is he going to be consistent going forward? Because obviously that's what is going to be the most important to his, I guess you want to say, his his development going forward. Josh Green with 15 points last night, a beautiful transition dunk, just some beautiful transition plays by Josh Green. You're starting to see the confidence in him continue to grow and build. He's starting to also round out his game. You're looking at 6 rebounds, a guy with 3 assists, also 1 steal, 1 block, just playing the court and playing his role to where, I guess, to the ability that we need to be doing it right now. Kyrie Irving, it was one of those quiet nights, but we didn't need much out of Kyrie last night because, again, you had a Luka Doncic taking over, and the rest of the guys were filling in nicely around him. Kyrie Irving with 16 points last night, 5 rebounds, 6 assists. This was one of those also games Derrick Jones Jr. found himself in the mix with 18 points. This is a guy we've seen the shot, his three-point shot, I will say, start to fall off a little bit lately, but Derrick Jones Jr. is still one of those guys who has the potential to just kind of get his buckets in many different ways. I want to liken it to a guy like Sean Marion. I'm not calling him Sean Marion, obviously the Matrix, helped win that 2011 championship for the Dallas Mavericks, and the guy, the Swiss Army knife, he just does everything. But Derrick Jones Jr. to me has some skills, I guess, that you can kind of compare to a player like that, just because he can work his way around. And if you're finding him being one of those hustle players and getting out in transition, and if you do see that three ball start to fall, you're going to find yourselves in a lot of trouble if you're the opposing team. Derrick Jones Jr. was 5 of 7 on field goals yesterday, was 7 of 7 from the free throw line, which is a great sight to see. Luka Doncic also, although I spilled in again, 6 of 7 from the free throw line. It was just a great game overall by a team. I guess you want to say from a team standpoint. Tim Hardaway Jr. off the bench, doing what he does, 19 points, going 50% on field goals, 7 of 14 in 30 minutes, 5 of 10 from 3. This is one of those players, we talk about Tim Hardaway Jr., he's going to be your X factor a lot of nights, because if he's missing, sometimes you can find yourself in trouble. But I will say that was obviously prior to the moves that Dallas Mavericks just made to bring some more depth, completely just team depth overall. But Tim Hardaway Jr., if he's going to be knocking down his shots, we're talking about shooting 50% on field goals night in, night out, or just for the, I guess you want to say for the most part, because we do know he's a streaky guy. He shoots lots of jumpers. He's not really a guy that's going to be consistently looking to drive to the basket, which we have seen him do a little bit more lately. But Tim Hardaway Jr., just 19 points, pouring it in. We're going to be able to start to see some of these other younger guys potentially find themselves a nice role themselves. Jaden Hardy was obviously played 14 minutes last night, came away with 4 points. You didn't need too much. Again, 2 of 5 on field goals. So this was just a team effort overall. It's great for the Dallas Mavericks to try to put themselves together going forward. Again, now adding in PJ Washington, Daniel Gafford. The sky's the limit, because now you have more of a versatile team, and it's going to be exciting to see how exactly Jason Kidd, and I put in quotations, say it very lightly, Jason Kidd, it's going to be very exciting to me personally to see how exactly he's going to be able to work around and move around some of these pieces and find as much versatility as he can, because that's what's going to make the Dallas Mavericks dangerous on a night by night basis. And it goes without saying, Luka Doncic is the player of the game. 39 points, 11 assists, 8 rebounds, 4 steals. He just had the game completely under control. He was pretty much being that magician that we become accustomed to, that we know should be an MVP in this league very, very soon. Hopefully we can pick up some wins, pick up some momentum going forward, especially coming out of the All-Star break. That's where you're going to maybe be able to see Luka Doncic get himself back in the mix if the team is starting to have some real success. So Luka Doncic, keep balling, keep doing what we expect you to do, because we need you to reach this team's goals. And we're just seeing that actually the Dallas Mavericks are starting to just kind of piece something together and put it together and formulate. It looks like what's starting or has the potential to be an all-around much better team. And again, like it's been stated, we brought in PJ Washington, Daniel Gafford. The next game for the Dallas Mavericks will be Saturday. We'll see exactly if these guys are able to get some playing time, find themselves a little bit of just PT, an opportunity earlier on after this trade acquisition. But Jason Kidd did say he could potentially see PJ Washington coming off the bench, or obviously we know Daniel Gafford, that's going to be his role right now. But we're talking about just saying a backup big. I think Daniel Gafford's role is going to be much bigger than just saying a backup big, because he is going to be our main, I guess you want to say, defensive guy behind a Derek Lively. And we do know sometimes foul trouble happens. These are big men. The game will get up and down. You'll never know the certain circumstances by each game that they'll fall under. But if we're going to have Daniel Gafford and a Derek Lively combination for a full 48 minutes a night, health-wise, of course, knock on wood, we're going to keep guys healthy. But if we're going to have a Derek Lively and a Daniel Gafford combination, just a duo at the 5 position for the Dallas Mavericks for the remainder of this season and going forward in the next couple years, the next few years, we are going to be a serious team if we can just round out the rest of the perimeter defenders. The Dallas Mavericks now also are finding themselves in conversations to be bringing back a guy that helped us reach the Western Conference Finals a couple seasons ago. Obviously, Spencer Dinwiddie, who was with the Brooklyn Nets, and I believe he was in the trade that he found himself to the Toronto Raptors. The Raptors ended up waiving him because they did not want to find that of themselves over that, I believe, a $1.5 million tax, I think it said, something like that. So they end up waiving a guy like Spencer Dinwiddie. He has been apparently found some interest in a team like the Los Angeles Lakers, but the Dallas Mavericks last night, of course, many guys look on social media. You have Theo Pinson pretty much saying, yes, get the game back together. You guys should get the game back together, figure out how to get this done. Unfortunately, we're not able to bring back a guy like Dorian Finney-Smith for the fans that are just have that love for it. Dorian Finney-Smith want to see him return. But Spencer Dinwiddie, if we can get him back, he's going to pay major dividends back, just being that guy behind Luka Doncic, behind Kyrie Irving, help control the offense, because we do know at certain points Spencer Dinwiddie is a very crafty guy when it comes to getting to the basket, and we've seen that many times. So I think we have something to actually cook with going forward, because you also still are going to be getting a guy like Dante Exum back in the mix. So as much depth as we can add, as many different looks as we can add to opposing teams having to deal with, the Dallas Mavericks are going to find themselves in a space to make some noise. Like I said, PJ Washington, we'll see exactly what his role is going forward. I believe he's probably going to be that starting 4. It depends on how you're going to be looking at it. Maxi Kleber should be getting plenty of time at the 4 position, where I feel much more comfortable with him playing than trying to be that center guy, that number 5 in the 5 position. But potentially, I could see a guy like PJ Washington find himself some playing time at the 3. Josh Green, to me, is more of a dual guy. He's I guess you want to say a smaller 3 potentially, but I believe he's more of a 2 playing that position. So you're going to have some versatility going forward. Obviously, Derrick Jones Jr., and then you're going to be able to see how other guys, fit around that. Fit around those things. But the Dallas Mavericks as well starting to pick up some momentum now on a 3-game win streak. The next game again will be against the Oklahoma City Thunder. I believe they're a game and a half. I mean, not a game and a half, half a game out of the first seed right now. So again, it's very log jammed. The Western Conference is up for grabs, and there are many teams that are trying to stake that claim. So go ahead and handle your business, Dallas Mavericks, and see where these cards will fall when it comes around playoff time. So I appreciate you guys for all the support. Go ahead and like, comment, subscribe, and share. And as always, enjoy your day.